There is a deeply rooted mystery within the words of the Bible, a passage that has remained in the shadows for centuries, almost as if there has been a deliberate effort to keep it hidden. This verse not only unveils shocking truths but also possesses the power to challenge and transform the faith of anyone who discovers it. However, it is precisely this transformative capability that makes it a topic often avoided in sermons and religious teachings. Both religious leaders and skeptics seem to agree on keeping it away from public discourse, as its direct and uncompromising message has the potential to shake the very foundations of traditional belief systems. But why is this verse so feared? The answer is simple. It contains a truth that breaks barriers. It is a key that could open the door to a more intimate and personal connection with the divine. It is no surprise that those who reject or fear the power of the spiritual world prefer these words to remain ignored. A truth so impactful could alter our understanding of spirituality, expose false beliefs, and directly confront hypocrisy. Throughout history, there has been a complicit silence surrounding this message. In an era where distractions are endless and superficiality reigns, this verse challenges our priorities. But today will not be one of those days when this secret remains concealed. In this discussion, we will delve into the profound and revolutionary meaning of this biblical passage. Get ready, because what is about to be revealed could challenge every preconceived notion you have about faith, spirituality, and your relationship with God. The profound meaning of Matthew 7:21-23. The verse from Matthew 7:21-23 is known for its clear and forceful message. Not everyone who says to me, "Lord, Lord," will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, "Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles?" Then I will tell them plainly, "I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers." This passage directly challenges the common belief that a mere public profession of faith is sufficient for salvation. These words not only question the authenticity of many Christians' actions, but also expose the discrepancy between outward deeds and genuine inner transformation. In a world where appearances matter so much, this passage serves as a mirror, forcing individuals to reflect and engage in self-criticism. It is not surprising that this verse is often avoided in preaching, as it highlights the hypocrisy and empty religiosity that frequently prevail in a cultural context that prioritizes image, visible success, and immediate results. A mirror of authentic faith. This verse acts as a voice against the status quo, reminding us that superficial faith holds no value if it is not accompanied by true obedience and spiritual transformation. Furthermore, it raises questions about common practices such as using faith to gain power or recognition, an issue that can be uncomfortable for both believers and religious leaders. The message of this passage also demands personal introspection and honesty. It forces each person to examine the authenticity of their faith and motivations. Are our actions based on a true connection with God, or are we merely seeking the approval of others? This level of self-reflection is not easy, and many choose to avoid it rather than face the implications it may have for their lives. The danger of superficial spirituality. In our modern society, where consumerism and appearances dominate everything, even spirituality can become a spectacle. Churches sometimes unknowingly fall into the trap of prioritizing numbers, grand events, and visible miracles while neglecting the true inner transformation that defines genuine faith. This verse serves as a direct critique of that tendency and calls for a return to the fundamental values of Christianity. If you have read this far, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on this message. This passage should not be treated as just another biblical verse, but as a call to reevaluate our relationship with God. True faith begins when we have the courage to confront our own hypocrisies and seek a genuine connection with the divine, a call to true spiritual transformation. This passage challenges the prevailing mindset by emphasizing that it is not external works or rituals that truly matter, but rather sincere and profound obedience to God's will. He urges us to abandon superficial faith and embrace authentic spirituality, one that does not seek to impress others, but focuses on what God knows lies deep within our hearts. In an era marked by selfishness and individualism, where personal desires are often placed above all else, this message acts as an urgent call to reevaluate our priorities. We live in a society that glorifies autonomy and self-satisfaction, yet this passage reminds us that it is not enough to call God Lord while continuing to live by our own rules. Instead, it demands complete submission to His will, something that directly opposes the relentless pursuit of personal gratification that characterizes modern culture. This message invites us to reconsider what is truly important and to place God at the center of our lives. In a world obsessed with quick fixes and instant gratification, even our relationship with God is often affected. Many seek faith as a means to solve problems or gain material blessings, rather than as a deep and lasting commitment. This verse denounces that utilitarian attitude toward spirituality, making it clear that what matters is not what we do publicly, but how we live in obedience to God every day. Living out this transformative message. The message of this verse is more relevant than ever. In a society saturated with distractions and superficiality, faith runs the risk of becoming an empty performance without genuine transformation. Even our best actions may lack value if they are not rooted in a sincere relationship with God. This passage invites us to reflect deeply. Are we living according to God's will, or are we merely playing a role? The self-examination and change demanded by this message are essential in a time of moral, social, and spiritual crisis. Applying this verse requires us to reassess our daily decisions. It calls us to live out an active and committed faith, reflected in our actions in every area of life. In our work, by acting with honesty and integrity. In our families, by showing patience, love, and genuine service. In our social relationships, by embracing humility and generosity. The challenge of authentic faith. This message reminds us that God does not seek appearances but a real and profound relationship based on obedience to His will. Imagine living with unshakable faith, free from hypocrisy and the fear of judgment. This transformation liberates us from superficial concerns and directs our energy toward what truly matters, loving God and our neighbor. The spiritual impact of this verse lies in its ability to awaken us to a truth we often avoid. Not everyone who professes faith will be recognized by God. This call urges us to abandon complacency and live with a clear purpose. It reminds us that God does not seek perfection but sincerity and a willing heart. When we apply this message, we experience a spiritual awakening that brings peace, clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose. A call to action. Imagine a world where people live their faith authentically, reflecting love, justice, and truth in everything they do. That is the transformative impact this verse can bring to our society. It calls us to be light in a world darkened by superficiality, leaving behind masks and living as true followers of Christ. This verse, often ignored, is a powerful tool for reconnecting with God in a genuine way. It challenges us to reevaluate our priorities, abandon empty appearances, and live a life aligned with divine will. Applying this message can not only transform our spirituality, but also influence the world around us. Now the question is, are we ready to face this challenge and live the gospel in all its authenticity? It is time to go beyond mere words and embrace a faith that truly transforms. The choice is ours.